All right, guys, so now in this video, we're going to be talking about, okay, how do I actually throw on the run? Now, in the intro, we talked about, hey, there's a lot of mistakes that guys usually make, and one of the biggest ones is they change up what they're doing from on the run versus in the pocket, and that's what we want to avoid. But how do we actually throw from the pocket? So whether this is a sprint out, a roll out, a bootleg, doesn't matter. Escaping the pocket, doesn't matter. It's all going to remain the same. As you get closer to the time where you're going to actually throw the ball, your final step is going to be with your back foot always, okay? That's number one. Make sure you're not finally stepping with this front foot, because just like when you're throwing from the pocket, when you step off this back foot and step into it with your front foot, you're not doing this, throwing it, and then trying to bring that back foot around, okay? So we want to stay consistent with that. That's going to be the biggest thing, and that is one of the things that I see a lot from a lot of guys, is some of them will be on the wrong foot, and so their sequence is off from the jump, and there's no way to get it back, okay? So the first thing, back foot. For righties, this is our right foot, lefties left, okay? That's the last thing to hit the ground. Next, I want to get that back foot pointed best as I can to where I'm throwing that ball. Now, we'll talk about here in a couple videos, okay, what do we do when we're running laterally versus downhill, this, that, and the other. But as a general rule, I want to get this back foot pointed at where my target is, okay? From there, I want this to be activating as my load hip. This is where all my power is built up. So just like from the pocket, I've got 60% of my weight on my back foot. It's pointed at where I want that ball to go. And now here's another huge key. I don't want to explode up. I want to explode at where I want the ball to go. A lot of guys will suspend themselves in thin air almost, popping straight up, and all that's doing is pulling power away and going back up versus at where you want the ball to go. So when you go to throw, I want to be right here, take this step, load on this foot, 60% of my weight, and then explode straight out to my target, okay? Next thing with my upper body, I want to try and get this shoulder turned best as I can. Now, we've all heard this one, very common coaching point, correct coaching point, but still, a lot of the times, I don't see it executed well. So we want to make sure as we're getting this back foot pointed and we're loading, this shoulder is turned. It's going to help us build up torque and make a more consistent throw. Now, on the follow through and release, this is very important, I think even almost more so than from the pocket, because if you don't have a proper follow through and release on your on the run throws, it will really mess up that throw and specifically your accuracy, okay? So, as a righty, I'm throwing right here, and I've got all this momentum going to the left, right? I'm getting right here, I'm torqued, and then I go and rip it, and I throw. Well, if everything's going to the left, in order to keep on track, something's got to come back to the right to help me out. That's where this front foot comes into play. So as I step on that back foot, final step of my throw, I'm going to be right here, I'm going to explode out, and now as I'm throwing the ball, this left foot I'm actually going to use as kind of a counterbalance to work across my body when I throw the ball. So one of the things, you probably have seen this from guys in the NFL, you've probably even seen this from yourself when you throw the ball. You just may think it's subconscious or something, and it is to a degree, but we want to make sure we really capitalize it because it's a huge asset to our throw. So when I go to throw, I'm right here, and it doesn't have to be a massive turn or anything like that or a huge swing like this. It's just got to be this little thing that kind of helps us redirect that momentum and really get it to where we want the ball to go, okay? Now again, release and follow through are huge here. So as I go to throw, I want to extend that hand out to my target as far out as I can. Not just the ball, but the actual hand. And this is where I see a lot of guys mess up. They will finish it right here. I see this a lot on the run, and I see it on the deep ball as the two places where we see it the most, where we release too early, short arm the throw, and boom, it just goes sailing on us, okay? So we want to make sure as you're throwing this ball, okay, you throw and you release and extend that hand as far out to your target as possible. This is absolutely critical for optimal accuracy, and if you don't do this, it will have an adverse effect, okay? So that's kind of in a general nutshell how I want you to be throwing on the run, okay? You're loading on the back foot just as you would from the pocket, 60% of your weight on your back foot. Last foot is with your back foot. You're exploding out to your target versus at. You're getting that shoulder turn. You're releasing and extending all the way out to your target, and as you release, at the same time, that front foot is coming back across your body to help regulate the throw. Now, another thing that I will mention that was mentioned in another video, but make sure, one of the things that I see a lot is young guys especially, they will try and elongate their steps when they go to throw on the run because they're trying to build up that power. Don't do that. Fight that temptation. That is going to have a negative effect. The other thing that I don't want to see is the chopping the feet. We don't want to do this either. I want you to be as normal with your steps and your stride as possible. That's going to give you the most consistent result. The more you try and change things, the more it's going to breed unsuccessful throws. So what I would recommend is in your room, and we'll go over a couple drills here in a little bit to how to do this, and you know, a couple other things to help you specifically. But in your room, in your yard, whatever you're doing, just go through and throw on the run. run, even without the ball, trying to make sure that you're as normal as possible. So you're right here, turn, throw. Okay, I'll give you one with a couple more steps. So I'm going to be right here, and go. If you'll notice everything about that, I was able to basically continue, and I'll show you from this side so you can see me continuing on my stride. If I'm over here, I want to make sure that as I'm throwing on the run, when I follow through, I can basically keep running without even having to regain my stride, or I'm not breaking my stride when I throw. I'm completely in stride, and I can pick that stride back up as soon as that ball's out. So I'm right here. Okay? And again, as you can see there, I was able to pick up my stride right back up where I left it before I threw. That's where you're going to get the most success. The less you change about how you run and how you throw, when you put them together, the more successful you'll be. The more you try and change those things or add exceptions or whatever, those are going to be the things that bite you.